I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good morning, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have a wonderful show. We've got some amazing guests here on our show today. Can't wait to bring them in. They're from another continent, and you guys are going to really love them. So, my co-host, how are you doing today?
I am good. It's been a little minute since we've been on. Since that time, obviously, I was in South Africa.
I know. The Queen of South Africa.
and I brought back guests.
Oh, look at that. I love it. We're trying to conquer the whole world with our small business message and our services. So that's what we're trying to do. So you're an official international ambassador. You're
And that's
you're making the
exactly.
connections, right?
I'm making the connection, bringing all of us together. You know, that's my big thing, right? Is to
That's
make sure
right.
that all Black people across the diaspora, we all come together. If I have to pull you, drag you, snatch you, whatever it is I have to do, we have to make it happen.
That's right. That's right. That's how we do it here. So, co-host, how was your wonderful trip?
Oh, my trip was absolutely awesome. I had a fantastic time. I met some amazing people. I got to see South Africa. I recognized that we're all one and the same, which we were told differently,
Mm-hmm.
but we are the same people, and it was fantastic. Whirlwind. You got my girlfriend is a whirlwind type of person. We
Yeah.
had a fabulous time, Gilbert. Um, we went on excursions. We had dinner. Her family fixed barbecued for us. We stayed at this amazing villa. Anybody that's been on my Facebook page, I've been dropping pictures since I left, since I was there. Actually, we went
Right.
on a safari. We hung out with the elephants and the rhinoceroses
Mm-mm-mm.
and the hippopotamuses, and we saw some lions. Only thing we didn't see was the leopard. But here's a little quick story. We were in the safari, and the guy was saying how dangerous the rhinoceros is, right? and
Uh-huh.
and that if he runs very fast, and if he catches sight of you, he will ram into the vehicles, right? So
Yeah.
we were on the close to them. They were close. And so something rustled, and they turned around and heard the truck and started heading. And so, of course,
Yeah.
the tour guide was getting it out. So one of the guys was with us. When the tour guide started to drive away, he had his baseball cap on, and he had the bib on the front, right? So
Yeah.
the air caught it and
Yeah.
took it off the back of his head, and
Right.
it landed. And so he goes, "Okay, bye, hat." So
So when the rhino saw it, he changes his focus and start going after the hat, right?
right. So one of the guys on the bus said, he's saying, driver, one of the guys dropped his hat. Can we go back and get it? And
To
so
the no.
Kenny was like, I don't need the hat. I don't need the hat. But he went back and he got the hat. The rhino looked up like,
What are you guys doing in my neighborhood?
I was gonna get that hat. And then we turned around and flew away. So then Kenny says, "Okay, I am going to sell this as an NFT."
Oh man. Man, believe me, if that was my hat, no matter how much I paid for that hat, man, I'm saying goodbye to that hat. If it means me getting that hat or the rhino getting it, I'm giving it to the rhino.
Right, exactly. Because the rhino don't be playing.
They
So
don't
it was
play, man. Those things, you see those things, they batter ram things that's almost twice their size. I'm going, no, no.
exactly. And here's the thing. Now, here was something interesting that we learned. Um, this is kind of like a resort, right?
Yeah.
That the safari is on. There were some hunters that actually reserved a space, a lodging, paid
Hmm.
the money to pay at the lodge,
Yeah.
and then went out to hunt the rhinos in captivity.
We know where they're from. We know where they're from.
so so of course they actually gave them life. They caught them and they
Hmm.
gave them life. So
Yeah.
that was good, man.
Yeah.
But we're
That
like,
will teach
how the
them.
hell
That will teach them.
hunting down the animals in captivity? That ain't
Yeah.
even right.
Unbelievable, man. So you had a great time then, co-host, huh?
I did have a wonderful, wonderful time. It
And you
was
established some great connections while you were there, right?
I did. Well, actually, before I got there, my girlfriend and her mother had asked me to have some conversation with her brothers, and could I interview them? So we tried to do that a little bit while we were there, but
Hmm.
we were all in the same house, and we were like having to run to the airport after we ate real quick. So I was like, okay,
Right.
we're gonna make this happen in our
Right.
space, and
Yeah.
so they're here today, and it's been great. So how was your? Because that was my Thanksgiving. So how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, my Thanksgiving is not half as interesting as yours. Mine was just peaceful. I stayed, as you know, yesterday was last week was my 1 year anniversary when I contracted COVID. So
Mm,
I wasn't about to have that repeated, man, because from what I'm hearing on the news, the COVID infection rate is increasing. It's going up again, right?
yeah,
For
it is.
for LA County. So
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to be out there mingling with anyone. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to hang out with anyone. I'll just stay right here in my place, enjoy my Thanksgiving. And that's what I did. It was beautiful.
Yeah, actually it was. Dr. Mays comes on the other show, the community briefing, and
Yeah.
so she was saying be very careful even before we actually got to started Thanksgiving. She had come on because it's not just COVID, it's the RSV and it's
Yeah.
as well as the flu.
The
So there were
monkeypox and all of that.
I don't know what happened to the monkeypox. I think that disappeared. Oh, so before I left, though, I was in the airport. We had a late flight, a 10 o'clock at night flight, right? So I was the first one it was me and a friend of ours named Juanita that was flying together on Virgin Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
So when I came in, one of the things that I did, they have a special on getting purchasing your TSA pre-check. So I had
Yeah.
done that. So I was able to get through pre-check because there was hundreds of people leaving out that night when I left,
Yeah.
um, which was Sunday night. But Gilbert, I'm sitting, I'm talking on my phone. I'm texting Mona, my sister, and telling her how I felt very bougie because I just came through all the crowd of the people. And so I look up, and here is this whole crowd of people coming in white hazmat suits,
Uh-oh.
and I'm like, okay, is there a problem? they
Were
they
they going towards a plane?
they were coming in to get on a plane, yeah,
Oh
and it
Lord.
turned out that it was actually Chinese. So they have
Oh.
a major outbreak in China. So they
Oh
were
wow.
covered from head to toe in
Oh my
hazmat.
Lord.
They had on
Mm-mm.
masks, goggles, and it must have been like
Gloves.
50 of them. And I'm like, oh, are we safe?
That is scary, man. That is scary.
So I'm like, what the heck? Oh my God. Hey,
I can just
Patricia.
imagine.
Good morning, Patricia. Patricia's up early watching us, Langford.
Hey, Patricia, how you doing there?
And
Thanks for joining us on the Business Zone.
yeah, and someone called the small business digital tool. They're there. Good morning. Welcome, you guys. Y'all came early for the
Good
business zone.
morning, Small Business Digital Tool. Thank you for joining us, and we're hoping you enjoy our show today. We got some great guests who will be coming up soon, so stay put. And if you have any input, just put your questions in the chat or make some comments. We'll accept it as well.
Exactly. And show is going to run again at 3 o'clock in our regular space. I'm just going to reschedule it. So, but this is early. And the reason we're early today, guys, is because we have our guest from South Africa, from Cape Town, South Africa. And they have this business that they've launched. And we're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. And hopefully down the line, there's going to be some synergy that we can do some stuff together. With that, but it's about young people and teaching them skills and that they can actually apply to live a better life. So, and that's some of the conversations that we have ourselves. I mean, you guys know I teach an entrepreneur class for young people between the ages of 13 and 18, and that's the reason I do that, is to teach them that there's more to life than just going to college and incurring debt and then working a minimum wage job. There are so many other opportunities. We just have to expose you to those opportunities.
As a matter of fact, co-host, as you mentioned that, I've been in conversations with one of your junior students, Journey. So
Ah,
she's been communicating with me a lot, wanting to learn a lot more about getting her DBA, doing business as, and getting her business license with the city of Los Angeles. So I've been providing her some good data, coaching, and advice. So reach out to her every now and again just to see how she's
oh,
doing. And
she texts us. She's,
uh,
we have our year-round program, so she's part of
uh,
that. But wouldn't it be wonderful if all of our adult entrepreneurs was as tenacious as Journey is?
as yes, she is phenomenal. She's relentless, and I love it. She will text me, and because I'm busy, I didn't get a chance to get back to her text. She'll text me again, and she call me, send me an email, say just checking in to see if you got my email. I had a question on getting my DBA, my fictitious business name, registered. Can you help me? I said, oh sure, not a problem. I was in a meeting, but now let me help you. So it was, I just love her follow up, or stick to itiveness,
Oh yeah, she's got a lot of stick to it in there. And when you came to talk to the kids during the summer biz camp, oh my God, when you left, she had questions. We're like, Rhonda had to get to a place to say, Rhonda's like, Journey, I don't have the answer. But yeah, she's gonna be a little superstar,
Yes,
just like Anthony, the little
yes.
man that we had on the show. Those are
Love it.
superstars. So
Love it. Love it.
yeah, she's just as tenacious as is with you. She's that with us. And
Yes.
but I can't, she's just amazing. So
Oh, before we bring in our guest, I
mhm.
want to say shout out, and I told her I was going to send her the link for this show, but I'll give it to her for the 3 o'clock rebroadcast of this. Remember one of our clients, Miss Lenny, Lenny from Vermont Slauson.
Yes.
She runs LA Queens Connection.
Okay.
So she called me yesterday to let me know her name is Lenny Woodley, Miss Lenny Woodley.
Yeah.
So she has this nonprofit that she runs to help women off the streets. So women who end up on the streets, they're homeless, street walkers, that type of thing.
Hmm.
Her nonprofits provide services for them to put them in homes and prepare them for job interviews, so they can get jobs and help themselves, be more self-sufficient. So
Right.
she called me up yesterday. She said, oh my God, she was all excited. Said she got a grant to help these women even further their ambitions. And I was just so proud of her because she started this program a few years back, and she's just been hitting the walls trying to get assistance, and no one would help her. So, through our coaching there at VSCDC,
Hmm.
we were able to help because you helped her with her bookkeeping, and I
I
helped her
did.
with her back office, her infrastructure, and some coaching. And she's just so grateful. So I just want to say shout out to her for being persistent and be able to obtain this grant for her business. So I wanted to say that before we brought on our
Oh,
guest.
awesome, awesome. Well, yes, I had and she was when not everybody embraces the accounting piece like they should, but
Yeah.
she was just over the top, and she
Oh yeah.
caught on to it. And so I was very, very pleased meeting her and helping her. So congratulations, Miss Lenny.
Yes.
We're so happy. And anywhere, any place, or how we can help you, please reach back out to us. Gilbert and I are here for you. And we both work with Vermont Slauson Economic Development, a corporation, and that's what we do there for them.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
congratulations. So we
Definitely.
ready to get this show on the road?
We are ready to speak to our very special international guest.
Right. So I'm gonna bring both of them on. This is Mr. Craig Poyo, and this is his brother, Mr. Trevor Poyo. And they are one's a managing director and one's the finance guy for the LENTEC Training Academy. And it's academy that is providing helping creating an agile workforce that responds quickly and effectively to quickly changing the economic and competitive environment. So sounds familiar, doesn't it? Right?
Oh yes. Oh
So
yes.
they're doing it through on job skill trainings, things that we learned. And I don't know if it happened in South Africa, but in America,
Hmm.
long time ago, in a different decade, we used to have auto shop, carpentry, plumbing, electrical work, upholstery, all of that sort of stuff. We had that in school. And for
Hmm.
some magical reason, they decided we didn't need that any longer.
Uh-oh.
So they took it out. And I
Yes.
believe that's the programming you guys are starting as well. So with that, Craig and Trevor, welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Craig, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then Craig, you do the same. Trevor, you do the same thing.
Yes, Gilbert and Crystal, thank you for this opportunity. Um, you guys bring a lot of energy to this business zone. I like that. It's fantastic. Yes, I'm a teacher by profession, um, and I came into this business because apart from anything else, that we're lacking that type of artisan skills here in our country.
Mhm.
Um, But over and above that, we want to be role models for our kids,
Right.
for the communities.
Yes.
And we never had the opportunity to be mentored by businessmen like yourself and Crystal.
Yes. Yes.
We never had that opportunity, and we'd like to give back to our kids, the younger generation. And in that, we started the idea of an academy,
Hmm.
and that academy is well, we started a year ago, and to date we have, like you just spoke now about that young lady that you mentored,
Yes.
the compliance and the governance issues, that is how we started, so that we can start on a fantastic solid foundation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I will give over to Trevor and he can elaborate
Okay,
further.
all right, Trevor.
Mr.
Yeah, like I
Trevor,
say,
welcome to the Business Zone, sir.
hey Gilbert and Crystal, thanks very much for the opportunity again. You can see that I'll probably have some challenges, I think, with my camera.
Yeah, I
We've
see
got
that.
load shedding, what we have, and
Oh,
Crystal probably would have experienced a bit of that. So I'm sitting in the dark and trying the best I can there. But no, again, we really do appreciate the opportunity to showcase a little bit about what we're wanting to do. And Crystal, I think remember what I said at Melanie's 50th.
Hmm.
We said, look, we hope that when you do come to South Africa, you leave and become ambassadors also for our country. And you've really taken that on board. You've given us a platform to be able to showcase what we can do. We are simple folk, and I think we're humble enough and blessed enough to be able to, as a big family, appreciate, the opportunities that one gets given. So we hope, obviously, with this particular forum to attract some of the goodwill and some of the some even donations, but we don't want to be talking about that. So let me give you a little bit of background in terms of where I come from. I'm a corporate banker for 29 years. I was a corporate banker. So corporate governance and banking and finance is kind of in my blood. But, you get to a point in your life where, you've been there, done that, how much more can you do in the corporate world? So for me, it was about, and this goes back 7 years ago, where I really wanted to give back a little bit. So I became an entrepreneur against all odds. I sat on the other side of of a banker's desk, pleading for resources and this and that. So I understand the challenges on both sides. And so I became an entrepreneur. I hooked up with, I was in the abattoir business, the meat industry. I was a minority shareholder in the business, and I cashed out and did what a lot of 50-year-olds said they want to do, but never do. And I went to go lie on the beach with my granddaughter, so I retired effectively at the age of about 50. But, you want to give back. And I then, mentored a youngster. I said, look, you go and run. And it was in the furniture manufacturing and upholstery business. He really didn't understand, corporate governance. And I then partnered with him. I said, you take care of the sales. He was good at that. And I'll take care of all the governance stuff and compliance and whatever.
Yes.
But it didn't work out. And I was then forced to manage the business.
Right.
And so here I am. And one of the things, and this leads me into what Craig was, the Training Academy, we took on a lot of upholsterers, but the pride, I think, out of being a craftsman, I discovered, was simply not there anymore. It was just a means to an end. And I've said, where is the pride? And we had a lot of guys come in and out of the business to the point that I've actually just decided I'm actually going to get them to unlearn youth. This is now young guys coming off the street, unlearn bad habits that they've learned, and we're going to teach them our way of being. Because I'm not an upholsterer by no means, but I can see if something is done wrong, and so we're trying to also teach the individual holistically. So I don't want to pay you on a weekly basis. I will pay you on a monthly basis because you must manage your finances, for a whole month. I don't want to keep you there for, so you work from paycheck to paycheck. So, and that is pretty much, that was the passion that I have. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's just the game. So we then expanded into Craig, and Craig can then maybe take it further from here, unless you guys have any additional questions.
Well, Trevor, it's amazing that you understand the compliance aspect of things. I'm the compliance guy here too. I work with a lot of small businesses trying to get them to understand compliance, setting up their back office, making sure their paperwork is in order. And you understand it from the corporate side because, you've been doing that for years. So you know what's needed. In order for someone to talk to you, they got to have these things in place first. And those are some of the type of things that we try to instill in our small business and entrepreneurs. And a lot of them, they don't think it's necessary. They don't think they need it. So I'm glad you're echoing those sentiments right here. So small businesses understand that compliance is really key for them to level up and move to the next level. Thank you for that.
And Gilbert, first let me explain to everyone what load sharing is. So in South Africa, here in America, we take everything for granted. So we get all bent out of shape when we don't have light. So that rarely happens here, but when it does, we are ready to tear down the electric companies. But in South Africa, you guys, this is a regular occurrence for you guys, right? You guys have what do they call it, Gilbert, here? Blackout.
Power outage.
Yes.
So guys, we actually get weeks of notice when there's going to be power outages in our towns, and based upon the heat, they have to tell us all day long so that we don't completely wig out.
See, in my case, I'm from Jamaica, so I'm very familiar with load sharing because just like see South Africa, Jamaica, the Caribbean islands,
India.
India. Most of our countries go through those types of things, and we're trying to understand the purpose because it never seems as if there's a benefit to it, but they think there is. But we used to go through the same thing in Jamaica every Tuesday, like clockwork. they shut down the electricity, so all our food in the fridge would go spoiled, and it's just unbelievable. So I feel your pain, Trevor.
Yeah.
I feel
No,
your
we
pain.
live it. We live it. We live it.
Right.
But I think that also what makes South Africa so unique. Cape Town in particular. We just go with the flow. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, so we work around it. So,
yes. It has gotten so bad that we used to look forward to it. Like, okay, on Tuesday the power is going to be out. We're going to do this. We're going to play this game.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
We're a bit spoiled in America, so we don't quite embrace things quite like that. But I guess if we had to deal with it on a regular basis, we would.
Yeah.
So, Craig, I just wanted everybody to know. So, but Craig, Trevor, your sound is awesome. So that's all we really need, anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But before Craig does this, starts to talk about the training and the process and how they're going to go about executing and launching and this program for their kids, behind them is their screen backgrounds, and that is Table Mountain, and that is the very first thing that I saw when I stepped off the plane in South Africa, and I was like, did God just take this mountain and just drop it here and then build a city around it?
It was surreal, huh?
No matter where you are in Cape Town, this mountain is what you see from every angle. And I've actually we did a tour 360 degrees around the whole town, I think. And this Table Mountain is there, and I actually took a cable car and went to the very top. So I just had to bring that in.
So that's the official landmark. Just like when you come to Los Angeles, the first thing you see is the U.S. Bank building downtown. That's LA. When you first come to New York, you see the Statue of Liberty as a landmark. That's the first thing you see, and then you remember that's where you are.
And the Hollywood sign. So those
Hollywood sign, yes.
This is South Africa's Hollywood sign.
Yes, there you go.
So, Crystal, you can actually be very privileged too. That's the 8th wonder of the world.
Oh, right.
Wonder of the world. So
there
you were there. Yeah. Tick it off.
There you go.
I was there. So, Craig, tell me. So you're the brainchild behind this, right? And then Trevor came in with his banking and compliance and said, "Okay, I can help you, and I want to make change." But you're the brainchild, right?
Well, it's all of us actually. Where I come into this is that I don't believe that as a student, you should only be academically empowered. I believe that to become an entrepreneur, you need a holistic education.
Yes.
And that right there is where I come in. And I said, well, let us not just teach the skill.
Mm-hmm.
Let us empower them to become entrepreneurs. Let us look at the business side of this. Mm-hmm. Because most businesses fail because the person is excellent at the practical skill, but has no business acumen.
Right.
Very little in terms of financial, and they live from a day to day, and there's no forward planning.
Yes.
There's no plan in place. So that is where we come from and say, well, let us take them through the whole business, including business skills.
Yes.
So, and that is how we started the pilot with at Trevor's furniture and manufacturing company. And we said, okay, take them through the skills. And in addition to that, let's apply our energies into starting them financial management, business management. Let's take them through all the compliance things that you're talking about to set up their own business.
Yes.
So we're training entrepreneurs. We're not training artisans.
Right.
And in that, if we had that when we grew up,
Yeah.
if we had role models and mentors that had been in this business long enough,
Hmm.
I suppose because all of us come from the civil servants, because our history, um, but we're trying to change that narrative.
Yes.
Trying to change that narrative and say you don't need to be a worker. You don't
Right.
need to be that person that works for someone else. You
Hmm.
can be the person that employs. You can be the employer.
Yeah.
So in that, our business model is structured on that and is premised on that to be a holistic education. And that is how we started this. We have now an immigration of so many skilled workers out of our country.
Mm.
And they've been poached by developed countries, countries with money,
Yeah.
because those countries see the value
Yeah.
of our technical skills, of
Yeah.
our artisans, of our people that really know, and they poach them at huge salaries.
Yeah,
And they
we've got one of your talents here right now. We got Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah, one of the
yes,
biggest entertainers in late night television.
yeah,
And you must not forget Mr. Moss that has been
yes,
taking
Yes.
over the airways for the last
Yes.
2 months.
That's true.
and 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 in all of this, we are trying to say, guys, let's get back to basics. It's not about the tertiary sector anymore. It's not about the quaternary sector anymore. It is about the primary manufacturing sector, because that is what we'll always need. We'll always
Mhm.
need people to build, to make.
Yes. Yes.
We won't need everybody to sit in front of a computer and be
Right.
a call center agent,
Hmm.
or which is what it is now. The
Hmm.
call centers are huge businesses in South Africa, but that
Hmm.
that goes to another dimension, because it says to me, the call centers of today are factories of yesteryear where our parents worked in.
Yes.
Those are churning out in products on production lines. That is not what we want. We don't want robots in factories. We want people to build our economy. And that is why we're driving this academy so hard. We're driving this process so hard so that we can see, we might not uh, see or realize the benefits in the near future, in the short to medium term. But we're playing the long game here. We're playing the long. It might not be our kids. It might
Yes.
be our grandkids' kids that will benefit from this.
It's amazing. It seems as if your purpose, your mission, and your focus is very similar to ours. You're training entrepreneurs to you're training folks to become successful entrepreneurs where they can be self-sufficient, take care of their families, and hire people and create a workforce. So it's very similar to what we do here. So I love it. So your company is called LENTEC. Is that it?
That's correct. Yes.
LENTEC.
LENTEC
So
Training Academy.
how long has LENTEC been formed? How long ago was it formed?
Trevor.
Okay, let me just take you back then. It was actually the name it derives from 6 very close friends. We go back probably 40 years. So every letter of LENTEC is the name of the individuals
I
that were the
like
founding
that.
members.
I like that. I like
So,
that.
there was a lot of foresight put into that. So if you want something to develop, you need
Yes.
for them to have the buy-in. And how
Yes.
better to have your name represented in something. And to what Craig was saying, we might not realize what we're trying to put in our lifetime. And
Right.
it's like a tree. You're planting a tree, but you're not going to be there to see it grow up. So this is our foray into this business. And I think those 6 individuals, the founding members that formed the company, each of them have special skills. They work for other people,
Hmm.
but they are unique. They bring unique talents to the company. So what we've said is, bring your talents to the company. Let's put it all together. We can have, as friends and family, being in business is very difficult, but we have the tough conversations, and but we are singularly focused on what the mission and the vision of the company is, of the business is. So my job was to obviously make sure that the corporate governance is correct from day one. Work hard. We invest a lot in the foundation, and then we're going to slowly start building on it. Craig comes to the party with his education, teaching skills. We've got another member that has got child and youth care experience, and another guy that's got marketing and facilitation skills. Another individuals that organizationally that is very strong. So that really encompasses. Okay, so there you see them. That's the team.
Yeah, that's
And
the
there's a little
team.
bit of profile. Oh, Crystal, you're so good there. You checked out our
Now,
website.
now you know why she's my co-host, right? Because she does the things that I don't even think about. I'm going, man, she's phenomenal. And this is just some of her basic skills. You haven't seen the other priority skills that she has yet. She's just phenomenal.
He's my biggest cheerleader, guys.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So,
So,
Craig, I think, yeah. Are there any questions arising
yeah,
from
we
that?
actually
Otherwise,
have
they can.
we have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
question that has come in. Is actually it's what is and this is from your sister, so she's watching.
Welcome, sister.
Welcome, Melanie. So she asked, what is the end goal and vision for the next 5 years? And what is now needed to excel and invest in LENTEC?
Okay. I think, yeah, that's always a good question. Put us on the spot.
That's your sister. That didn't come from me. That came from your sister.
Yeah. Um, for us, our focus is the artisans is a big part of what LENTEC is about.
Mhm,
But that is only one sector that we're concentrating on. We're
mhm,
going right down, we're going right back to the foundation of education. Our focus for the next 2 to 3 years is going to be on the ECD, the early childhood development, because that is the bedrock on which everything is being built at the moment. In South Africa, we have a deficit in terms of numeracy and literacy. And that translates from a very young age into the issues that we are facing in education.
Mm.
We have a very low numeracy and literacy rate in terms of our systemic evaluations. So while there are schools with centers of excellence, other schools do not have that. And it comes from, and that is where the issue manifests itself. Because if their literacy and numeracy skills are not up to scratch, we're having issues later on of them not being employable or going into tertiary institutions or going into technical colleges. So they end up not being employable. Our, that is why our focus is going to be on the ECD for the next 2 to 3 years, because now we have established the artisan and technical skills side. We will be concentrating and focusing all our energies on the early childhood development, and in that, supporting unregistered and the informal childcare centers sites that we have. So as a start off, that is where we're going to push all our energies into. That is where we'll need support. That is where we'll need donor funding, because we see how we are reaping the, not the rewards, but the deficit in terms of numeracy and literacy at a very young age. If we start well, if we build a good foundation, everything else is becomes better after that. I will stop there now, and then we can go on if you have any.
Craig, it's so interesting, and Gilbert will confer with me on this, that you guys are, what is happening in South Africa is also happening here in America. We
Yes.
have that same issue with our young people. They're getting a cursory education that really is not preparing them for the future and preparing them economically to be able to take care of their families, or even to start families. Here in America, housing is so expensive that our children, first of all, education is so expensive, so they're already in debt when they get out of college, if they get to college. And then by that point, they're in so much debt they can't buy homes, so they're living with their parents. So we have similar situations here where that's why I teach entrepreneurship, is because as the topic for the day is teach a man how to fish, and he'll be able to feed himself for a lifetime. But if we only give them minimum wage jobs, they'll always be dependent on the social services there. And then crime and displacement of families and children will always be an issue. So what you guys are doing, I would imagine, is probably a worldwide problem, especially for children of the African diaspora. And that's all over the world. We're all in the same situation.
So,
That's
Crystal, just to Melanie, just to build on what Melanie was asking, we don't even have a 5-year plan. We have much longer than that. So we're looking at legacy stuff. What we're going to start now must actually be sustainable going into the future. So essentially what Craig was saying is that, with the ECD, so if we go back to what I was doing with the skills and the artisan skills, when a guy doesn't understand the difference between a centimeter and a millimeter, that something has gone wrong with that guy in his teaching, in the
education.
In the education. We're saying, let's try and start with the kids right at the beginning, the 0 to 5-year-olds. Let us actually see if we can make a difference there. And so what we've done is we had a boss parade happening over the last weekend, where we actually said we will be a one-stop shop. We will identify the ECD principals, the teachers. We will educate them on how to actually run a particular ECD center. Over and above that, we will assist them with the corporate governance, the compliance related stuff. We'll register them, we'll apply on their behalf for grant funding. And why the ECD? The government has recently just put out a national, it's a national initiative where they've got a 3-year plan, well, much longer than 3 years, but they're going to be putting a lot of funding behind the ECDs because they realize the problems are starting right at the beginning. And so we want to be able to piggyback off that. But we know government takes a long time. And so we're hoping to actually self-fund it up to a point, identify maybe 20 ECD centers that we can actually assist in the first year. and we might need to have some funding from a donor. Initial, difficult to say, but the funder, the donor that we're looking for must actually walk the journey with us. It'd be very difficult to actually ask upfront, give us, whatever. They need to test us. They need to actually get the report on a quarterly basis, as most donors would want. But they need to see the value of what we are trying to do, and then drip feed the funding as and whenever it comes through.
How many ECDs are there?
So there's I'm gonna jump as
how many ECDs are there?
The ECDs in the country. There's 1,800 ECDs in the Western Cape alone.
Oh wow! And so
not in the country. Only
in Europe.
In the Western Cape alone.
In the west of Cape Town, Gilbert, there's 1,000, not the whole country.
So that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit.
Yes.
That's quite a bit, right?
Yes, that is a lot. But these are the ones that's only registered. There are 3,000 unregistered ones. Now, maybe I can give some context here. During the COVID pandemic, when we were on lockdown, it is these centers, these sites that assisted to look after, to care for kids when the parents were not available. It was these sites that were feeding communities. It was these sites that were making their places available for kids that were roaming the streets because schools were closed. Yet the government pays scant regard to this. We could see the soft underbelly of our structures here in this country. We can see who the people are that you can count on during an emergency, during a disaster.
Yeah.
It's the lady that cooks the soup, that makes the soup, or hands out bread.
Yes.
It's the law enforcement and the teachers and the nurses and the doctors.
Right.
It's not the politicians. So we need to support these sites more because they are the nerve center of communities.
Yes.
This is if you have a community, a site in your community that is able to change and drive change in communities, then that site is making a difference. So
now, are there grants available to fund those centers?
Yes, they are there's a lot of grants available for them, but they have to be registered.
Okay.
And at the moment, there are 3,000 unregistered sites. 3,000 in the Western Cape alone. There are 3,000 sites that are unregistered. And what makes this so significant is that the reason why they are unregistered is because they do not want to jump through the bureaucratic hoops that government puts in front of them. They do not want to know. Oops.
That's okay, Trevor, no problem.
They do not want to know to do the compliance. They do not want to fill out the forms. They do not want to submit financial statements. They only want to exist to serve the community. They do not want the red tape, the bureaucratic red tape. And
So with that,
Yes.
they don't get the funding. So then they're operating on very meager means in order to be able to facilitate what they're doing, which kind of leaves them at a disadvantage. I mean, we have that same problem. Craig,
Yes.
I think one of the questions Mel has, does nonprofits obtain much support from the South African government? And I think you kind of answered that question.
Yeah.
And then secondly, let's say, what are the tax benefits? Like here in America, as a if you're a nonprofit and I donate to a nonprofit, there's a tax benefit for me to do
Yeah.
that. What does that look like if I wanted to invest in your organization from outside foreign investors? How does that work from a tax place?
We issue a 18A tax. It's it kind of, we give it to you, so you submit it to your government in terms of the tax write-off.
Okay, so there
The
is a
IRS. It's exactly the
IRS.
same. Yeah.
The same, Trevor. Okay.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because obviously, I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic, but it does take money to do this
Yes,
because you have
absolutely.
to. Right? You guys are so walk me through to what the process looks like. You go out, you recruit your young people. Are you recruiting them from their existing schools or organizations? And then what happens when they enroll in what is the process for them enrolling and getting to that place to that where they're actually self-sufficient?
Okay. So the two-pronged approach. We have the one of the ECD sites, and then we have the artisans. Now we have a issue here amongst the young adults. Um, they don't want to be. You see,
Mm-mm.
we had the apprenticeship before.
Right,
The apprenticeship is when you walk alongside an experienced, qualified artisan,
right,
and for 3 years you gain experience. He teaches you all the ins and outs of his trade.
right.
These youngsters do not want that. They want to jump from A to Z immediately, and they want the money of Z. You know,
Yeah.
they are not in the business of moving slowly
No,
upward
they want to
mobility.
be the CEO of the company.
That's right, and that is where we're falling very short as a government, where we do not have a strategy. What we are saying as Lentec, we will walk and support government's initiative for to increase employment, to increase the registered ECD centers, to assist and support the artisan trade. We want to support our government in that, and so that we make it stronger. We are not in opposition to anyone. We actually complementing policy that government has put in place, but does not have the capacity to implement yet. So we want to be
Mm.
there alongside. And we only one of the many structures or organizations or academies that would want to do this. And in some small way, we want to contribute to growing our economy. So as you say, so the point I want to make is the process is we want to grab the student where we see there's an issue in the school already.
Ah, okay.
We want to say, okay, yeah, here's maybe a disciplinary problem or an issue because everybody is not compliant with what is happening. What we're saying is identify students that offer that want to go into the occupational stream. And we will walk that journey with them as coaches and mentors so that we don't have a situation where a student will walk out of a training center after a month. He gets paid for a stipend for the first month, and he says, "No, I don't feel like this anymore." Where's the support of that student? That student would have had in the past. There was that support. He was walking
Craig,
alongside
could I just
us.
add to what Craig was saying, Crystal? You
Mm-hmm.
asked the question about okay, what does it look like? For
Mm-hmm.
us, we say we've got a captive audience. We have an ECD center. We are accredited ECD
Okay.
facilitators. So we've got the
Okay.
formal accreditation for ECD. ECD principals and teachers, will come through our school, and we will train them. But they obviously, so that already is a captive audience. We already
Okay.
have them. We know we will have a database of where the center is, what is happening. We will go out, we will have a look at them. They would tell us what their shortcomings are. And that's where we actually create the holistic offering. So it's a
Okay.
one-stop shop that we're preparing to do. It's nothing different to what a lot of other folks are doing. We just believe that we've got a very strong corporate governance structure. We've got templates. We know how to apply for it. We can write programs. We can write applications for grant funding. We will actually roll out. So our intention is to identify ECD, make sure that that one is going to be almost like a showcase. We'll fund it ourselves initially. So we'll pilot it. And this is
Okay.
what a ECD center will look like. We make sure that the signage is up. We make sure that the teachers are all competent. That we know that the governance is all there. We know that the kids are well looked after. There's a nutritional plan, this and that, and what have you. There's furnishings. So the infrastructure is all in place. Our job is to leave there so that they can actually start becoming self-sufficient. And we move on to the next one. But there is also follow-ups, quarterly, half-yearly. In order to do that, you need to capacitate. The LENTEC needs to be capacitated in terms of doing that. So that really is what it looks like. How quickly we roll it out would be dependent on the funding that we have at our particular disposal.
Okay.
And also, as I said, we will also be leveraging off government funding, because we're helping them in terms of a program which has become a national imperative.
So in actuality, then I work with a program called NIFTY, Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. So they actually have the curriculum. They're the accredited curriculum. The curriculum is taught to the educators like myself, is in schools, and we get our kids from the school systems, or we go into the school systems and teach the program or the educational program. I personally do it with a nonprofit, and but the program itself, so they're not actually facilitating the program. We're not actually facilitating. We get everything from the licensure that we're purchasing or licensing the curriculum. Is that what you guys kind of do? You have the curriculum, you're going to put it into the EDC, to the ECD formats that already have the children. They already have your audience.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. What's the age group?
The age group is the actual children at risk at the moment is from 4 to 5 and 5 to 6. The reason why we starting at the ECD is because the first 1,000 days of any child's development is the most important. The development, if there's not a solid structure that guides that development, then the foundation is extremely weak. And that is why this is where we want to start. The 4 to 5 and 5 to 6, because in our country, the grade R, the reception year, is not compulsory. It's not compulsory. Yet, in the first year of primary education, within the foundation phase, the classes are so packed, between 30 to 60 students. If we formalize the ECD, it will free up space, and there will not be this influx, because the ECD will take up a lot of that. If the ECD, because now we found ourselves that the government has had a fantastic initiative. They've taken the early childhood development away from the Department of Social Development and put it in the education space. Now
Okay.
it becomes more structured. It becomes structured. It becomes everything. There's funding available for them, and the practitioners, ECD practitioners, have to be qualified, and that is where we come in. Like you said before, there's a training that we buy and we go through and we facilitate, we walk the walk with them, we mentor the practitioners, and they become qualified. And that, and as because we are a registered organization and accredited through the occupational and training uh, um, governance structures, we find ourselves that we on the front foot, and we find ourselves ahead of most other NPCs. And that is why we can offer and confidently say that by the time they come out of our program, the practitioners will be qualified and competent and have the capacity to manage a full ECD site. Because at the end of the day, that ECD is a business,
Okay.
and we're
There's
growing
a
that.
and you bring that.
Yes.
There's an author. I think he recently passed as a result of COVID, but his name is Sir Kenneth Robinson,
Roberts.
and he,
Yes.
Robertson. Yeah, and he wrote a
That's
book called "Finding the Element and Discovering Your Talent," and he believed that children are very, very creative from obviously from the time they start talking and crawling actually, and then it gets stilted by the time they get to by the time they get to age 6, because now they get to school and the school is just focused on route learning and not creativity, not creative learning, right? So the
that's right.
kids, right? So when you want to expose a child to an apprenticeship, their creativity stopped long before they got to a place for apprenticeship, right? Because they've just learned to memorize and repeat. That's all they've
That's
learned to do.
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah.
absolutely correct. And that that Ken Robertson has, that stuck with me. The children need to play,
Yes.
creative play, and that is what we want to start. The little building blocks that triggers this mind to think further than just in a structured way. Do it this way. Don't do it that way.
So
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
I've got a quick question. So I kind of overheard earlier that your demographic, your small business demographic, well, your entrepreneur demographic or early age, tender age kids. So do you have any of your participants within say 18 to 25 or 18 to 30 age bracket?
Trevor, in your
We do
organization.
have, yeah. I've actually got at my company, in terms of the skills and the artisans, I've
Mm-hmm,
got two unemployed black youth that is on a
mm-hmm,
learnership with me at the moment. Okay,
mm-hmm,
so government sponsors them
mm-hmm,
partially. Okay, I actually cover the rest of their salary, and they
mm-hmm.
work in the company. So we give
Right.
them holistic, formal every week. There needs to be almost like an assessment of what they've done. So they're not actually just they hands on. They're doing the job instead of actually just doing theory and what have you and sweeping the floors like most other companies do. They're actually doing the work. So it's a benefit for me as a company employer, and they're benefiting by actually doing the job, something that they do learn. They're on a 9-month program, and after that, we will assess if they are cut out for the job. So we actually putting into practice. We're writing the blueprint,
Mm-hmm,
and we've always said, let's start with 2 or 3 guys,
mm-hmm.
and when we grow up, we'll go for another 10, maybe. Um, but it's hard
So
because you're dealing with human beings, they and their own, and their own personalities. So it is difficult. But at the moment, we can deal with 2 for the time being, and we'll
Well,
take it from there.
actually, I think Trevor, Craig, starting from to initiate and to ignite the excitement and the creativity does start at the tender age, and then Trevor, by the time they get to the apprenticeship, then they're all excited about it because you've taught them a skill, right? We this summer I had a young boy that was part of my youth on my biz camp, and Anthony is 10 years old. And so we had him on the show. I'll send you guys over the link of where we interviewed Anthony. And so Anthony has a merchandising company that he prints names and decorates and blings out Starbucks cups with the little straw, and
Yes.
they found out how to buy it wholesale. So Anthony does that. He does bags. He does all that sort of stuff. Anthony is 10. Anthony was our star player in our program. Now, our program actually starts at the age of 13, but because Anthony was such a consummated businessman already at 10, we brought him in. So when we interviewed him, I said, Anthony, what's your goal? He says, I want to be a multi-billion millionaire by the time I am 22. And when I started my business when I was younger, 5, he started his business at 5. And so we ordered some merchandise from Anthony. Anthony was on it. 2 days after he got the order, he had already processed the order. He had already mailed out the order. So
you don't want to send him down to South Africa,
right, exactly. Oh my God. So his parents have encouraged him to be as creative. He gets excited about the 3D printing machines that he uses and the different machines that he uses to do his imprint. He is an amazing, but we've had many kids like that in our entrepreneur program. And I have actually done a program for kids 5 years old, 4 to 5, being entrepreneurs, and in a school. I was testing a pilot to see if it would work. These kids were so receptive. They just like suck up everything at that age because they're little sponges. So I think that strategy is a very good strategy because, our kids, once they get past 12, 13 years old, they become a little bit more challenged to ignite that fire in them.
Yes.
So one of the things that I'm thinking about in order to establish a partnership relationship with your organization is that if we can do a cross-continental type provided cross-continental service where we can provide training from our end. We can do it via Zoom or via Restream, like we're doing right now,
Yeah.
and help to train or coach some of your young entrepreneurs. So that's kind of what we did with the biz camp, and it's been very successful, where we go over business practices and acumen. If they're trying to start their business, what they need to start the business, what they need to do, the steps that they need to follow. And then once they get the business started, what are some of the things they need to do in order to be business ready? And if they want to get funding, funding ready. Or even if some of them want to start a nonprofit, what are some of those things that they need to look at? So we can certainly offer some of that, and I think it would be great for both coasts, where you can attract a lot more young participants or other even adults participants in your program when they see the caliber of what we offer through our program that we've been doing for multiple decades. So those are some of the type of thing we're thinking of. So what do you think about that?
No, that is a fantastic start to an initiative for us to start partnering. For me, it is a start. I'm positive about this, and I want to support this type of initiative because initially, Crystal, we had this conversation about having the youngsters having a conversation.
Mhm.
That is so such a powerful tool to have when you have young adults engaging with each other in terms of the interculture that they bring to each other. And
Yeah.
before we can even start with the talking about artisans or talking about work and talking about, but just getting to know the culture that you bring to the party, the culture that I bring to the party, um, and that can start the conversation, as a springboard for the training that you guys offer.
Yes.
It's so important that we understand each other,
Yes.
that we open a bit of our souls to each
Yeah.
other, and it doesn't become just a talk shop of doing,
Yes.
uh, but more of, I can identify with what you're saying. I can
Yeah.
relate. I've been there. I'm so happy that somebody sees the reason in what I'm saying,
Yes.
you know, and
Crystal,
that is,
Crystal, and Gilbert, Craig. Sorry, man. My
yeah.
phone, my laptop is just about to die. I do apologize.
Oh, no
It's the load
problem.
shedding and what have you. So before it actually just dies on me, I'd like to just say thank you, Gilbert and Crystal, particularly to you. I appreciate the opportunity to and I think it's been awesome. Just to be able to showcase the business. Um, if Craig can maybe just take it further, I'll obviously liaise with him a little later. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. As I said, we don't want handouts. We're wanting, we are passionate about taking this forward, with people's help or without, it doesn't really matter. But this is a step in the right direction. So thank you, Crystal, for making it happen. And
Oh,
Well,
thank
you are
you,
well,
so
Gilbert.
welcome.
well,
And this will not be the last time. We will be. This is we're creating a partnership here,
Yeah.
and there are going to be many more opportunities that are available. One of the things I was just looking, the curriculum that I use to teach entrepreneurship for here in America, it is actually an international program. So they're in other countries as well. And
Mhm.
I'm going to talk to them to see if they don't, right at the current moment, I don't see there any partners in South Africa, but they do partner up with organizations, and that's how they get their out. That's how they get the program there. And this program, which will then entice the kids to want to go that entrepreneurial distance further, what they do is we teach them, they build business plans, then they compete in world competitions. So it starts regional, national, and then it goes to an international. So this year they had a world competition. The winner was out of Mexico. The first place was out of Mexico. One was out of India, and one was out of Israel. So I'm
Wow.
going to talk to them about how we can you guys is organ
add
LENTEC
South, add South Africa to the list.
add South
Yeah,
Africa
yeah,
to the list, then
Yes.
that will entice those 13, 14, 15, because there's always money tied and stipends that are tied and attached. And they go out and find funding that also gives you a bigger pool to fund.
yeah.
So I will make a conversation with them first, and then we'll see, and then introduce them to you guys.
Yeah,
No, that's
I think it's such a
fantastic.
unique. I think it's such a unique opportunity now. South Africa is a fledgling business, fledgling country,
Yeah.
and for anybody to be able to contribute to us, I think we're writing history. We're actually living it. From Mandela, we've got a lot of good exports there. So, if we can actually start attracting those little 0 to 5 year olds and making a difference in their lives, they might be the next Trevor Noah. So there's such a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities, and
That's
we want to be
true.
part and parcel of it. And you guys can be too. So thank you from my side.
Oh,
I'm down to about the bare bones now. So
okay, all righty. So we're
I
gonna
gotta
let you
go.
go. It's wonderful,
Thank you.
Trevor.
All right,
And we
Trevor.
will.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
It's been a pleasure, Trevor. Thank you. We can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, likewise.
We should we
uh,
should we should probably schedule something, co-host. We should probably schedule to do this once a month,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah,
can. This is
yeah.
a
Yeah.
fantastic forum, man.
Oh yes, oh yes. So I don't know if Crystal told you about how this program was conceived, but it was conceived. Well, actually, it was conceived before 2016 by her. She's been thinking about doing something like this, but it was
Yes.
actually implemented in 2016 when we came together and said, "Hey, let's go for it. Let's do it." So that's how it got started in 2016, and we've been going high and mighty since then. We started out with a internet radio broadcast first,
Yeah.
and then when the pandemic hit in 2020, we decided to go a podcast route, and it's just been phenomenal since then. So, we want to bring the same thing to your region to help your participants, and maybe by us doing this bi-coastal type of collaboration, you can attract a lot more entrepreneurs to your program too.
I'm sure. I'm sure there are so many hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
Students, young adults that are so hungry for knowledge.
Yes.
They do not want handouts. They
Mm-mm.
just want
Right.
you to walk alongside them
Right.
and encourage them. Many of our experienced adults will tell you, uh, been there, done that, and
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
first time you blow out that candle. You extinguish that flame so quickly. We need
Yes.
to build them up, instead of
Yeah.
breaking them down.
Right. Right.
So I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm yeah, for one, I'm very excited about this type of initiative that brings our kids to the forefront of entrepreneurship,
Right.
to showcase what they are able to do, creatively, or because we don't know where the next billionaire, as you say,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Yeah,
coming
you don't. But you
That's
do
true.
from.
know that if they're able to create a product or a service that's needed, then that is the pathway to being a millionaire, right? And
Yeah,
also giving them independence because they're creating their own. I know, and I imagine this is all over the world. Entrepreneurship is the economic driver of most economies.
Yeah.
Is
absolutely.
because you need always to have new influx of new businesses, and the younger the business person is, the longer time they have, because you got to do some failing, right? So
Absolutely.
so the longer they have to fail and get back up, fail and get back up, and then eventually they'll get on the right track. um
Absolutely.
Correct. I have when I speak publicly to
Yes.
organizations, one of the things I always leave my audience with is that if we were to leave this planet tomorrow, all of us that have been educated and molded into the people that we are today, would we be okay with leaving our children here on this planet today, 2022, and walk away and know that they could carry on by themselves? I don't think there's any place on this planet that we could do that, right? So
No, no, absolutely.
that that
Absolutely.
and they're more dependent
No,
on us today than we were dependent on our parents, because we were
absolutely.
given tools, right? Our kids
Absolutely.
they're kind of soft.
Yeah.
so
No, you're right. Absolutely right.
So we
Absolutely.
have to be able to mold them and guide them. And this is a major thing for me. All this other stuff that I do, I absolutely love what I do. But children are at the center, and I don't have kids, but children
Yeah.
have always been at the center of my business philosophy from the day I started business. And I've been serving that population for most of my adult life. And so I think what you guys doing is absolutely amazing. However, Gilbert and I can be of service and
Yeah.
whatever we need to do, because I think it's important. But I also think it's important that exchange between our children here in America, your children in South Africa. They can see that there is no difference between us,
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
we have the same exact concerns and problems within our culture, in our country, as you guys have in your country. And of course, we're concerned about the children of color because
Yeah,
they're the most vulnerable in this world, and we have to
absolutely.
give them skills
Yes,
and
yes.
tools.
I am so 100% behind that sentiment that you're expressing. I've been teaching in a historically disadvantaged community for a number of years, and it is born out of that many of my ex students or students, they are born in this place and they die in that place. They've never
Mm,
ventured out, never
mm,
Wow.
ever ventured.
That's amazing.
So when we speak about having these connections, the channel that we open a channel between the transcontinental countries, that
Yeah.
we actually say, man, they also human.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not that you only see on TV the films and
Yes.
the news and the fashion and the whatever we see and the sport.
right,
It is the connection that we make with each other,
Yes.
that
right.
cultural exchange, that is so important. And I like what you're proposing, in terms of your the channel that the business zone talk
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah. Yeah.
the entrepreneurship, because that is what is needed. That is what is needed,
I'm
because
telling you.
many young adults are just left out to do their own thing. And that is where they flounder. That is where they pick up bad habits. That is where the social fabric of our society starts to break down.
Exactly.
Because
You
the
know,
Once
parents,
once we
the
do this,
parents,
Craig, I'm telling you, it's gonna take things to another level, man.
yeah,
I'm
I
telling you.
believe.
and
Yes,
you
I
know,
believe.
Craig, when we first launched the business zone, and I did it for a marketing tool, but it actually has evolved to so much, and I have two other podcasts as well, that was spearheaded from the fact that this was so easy to do. Okay, let me do some more. Because I think media is a outlet where we can tell our story, and it's so important
Yes.
that we tell our story and not the narrated story that the
That's right.
colonizers created
That's
for us,
right.
right?
Yes.
You're absolutely correct there.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we
That
have to
narrative, yes, that must be
it
stopped.
it
Oh,
has
for
to be
sure.
stopped.
For
We have to
sure.
tell our own story. We have
Yeah.
to educate our own children. There's a book after I left you guys, of course, my
Yeah,
as Gilbert says, my brain just goes off into a whole nother kind of level.
yeah.
And so I found this book online, and it was called The Intellectual Slavery. And it's
Oh,
written by an African young man from Ghana. No,
yes,
from Nigeria. And he's talking about, we learned our education, our language, our religion from the people that colonized us.
that's
So we
correct.
can only go as far as they educated us to go.
Yeah.
We have to take back our ability to
Mm,
educate within our own languages, within our own cultures, within our own religion, to be able to take our people and raise them to the next level.
yeah.
And this is what we're doing. So our platform that's what we use it for. And when we first started with the Business Zone, I used to
Yeah.
boost it on Facebook. Most of our viewers were out of Africa, all
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
continent of Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That is true.
And they were hungry. These are young people.
Yes.
They were hungry for the knowledge, because as you
Yeah.
obviously, they didn't have that mentorship. And I was asking a friend of mine that lived in Ghana for many years. She goes, "What you guys do is not available in these countries, in a lot of these countries, not all of them, but a lot of these countries." So
Yes.
that
Now, I'm so much in agreement with this thing, because when you brought up the subject, it's like, the history is written by the conquerors.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, it is what our history is based on.
Yes.
And we're trying to change that daily.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to change that daily by, and this is why I'm saying we need to have that conversation with our young adults. We
Yeah.
need to have that conversation because previously there was a reason, there was a passion for what we do. We fought against the evils of apartheid,
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, our political dispensation at the time. We fought that. So there was a reason why we did things.
Yes.
Now, nowadays, it is what do they call it? It's all about the labels. It's all
Yeah.
about what's happening now, what's in fashion now. It's the year
Yes.
and now. It's immediate gratification that our
Yes.
young adults want these days. The children want that immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
There is no stepping stones. There's no upward mobilities.
Yeah.
One stage, next stage, and next stage. They want immediately to go, jump from A to Z, and that is
They
Yeah.
how we started this conversation.
they want microwave type results.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
We have a couple of people that are chiming in from social media, from Facebook.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Um, whoever is behind the small business digital tool says this has been so great and informative. Margot Lovett, she says this conversation is really worth listening to. Thank you, Margot.
thank
Margot, welcome to the Business Zone.
lovely,
Digital,
lovely,
digital
lovely.
toolkit. Welcome to the Business Zone.
and and over in your sister's realm, her whole company is watching.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, Ram, you can chime in too. Type in a few comments or questions in the chat.
Well, Mel has
Uh,
been chiming in. She's been at some of those questions that I've been asking as well.
Good,
yeah,
But
good.
Craig, this is awesome, and
Yes.
we truly want to continue on
Oh, for
uh,
sure.
this conversation. Utilize us as we can see. We just have to schedule it a little earlier. That's okay, and a
yeah,
little later for you guys. So for all of you that listening, Craig is probably almost 9 o'clock, 8:30.
yeah. Nine
8:30,
thirty,
9:30
9:30.
in South
Yeah,
Africa, and so we're not going to keep it much longer. But and
yeah.
it's actually 11:30 here in Los Angeles. So
Good morning.
good morning, good evening to you. But
Good morning, South Africa.
Yes.
but it can be done, right?
Oh, for
Yes, it
sure.
can be.
If we're entrepreneurs, anything is possible for us. So
Absolutely.
our vision is unlimited.
So
Absolutely.
this has
No, it's
been.
been
Go
no,
ahead,
it
Craig.
is it is really being a fantastic conversation, and I'd like to keep this type of conversation going, but not only with me, but as you said, Gilbert, with the young adults,
Yes.
the fledgling entrepreneurs,
Yes.
you know, those ones that you want to tap into their creative space.
Right.
um, and I think we really have a captive audience here in South Africa, in Cape Town. um,
Yes.
and as you said, Crystal, we want to tap into those that don't have,
Exactly.
um, um,
and
because
and maybe we can create something where we can bring some of our I can bring in some of my American entrepreneurs that have been through our program, and you guys can put together some of your kids, and maybe
yeah,
we got some stars here that are really doing some amazing things. A lot of them have been with our program for the last 3 or 4 years, and the Nifty program has tons of kids. So maybe we can look at doing something like that.
yes,
Together, and
yeah,
encouraging your kids by the kids of ours that are already doing, but they can see that there's possibilities and open up that bridgeway. Maybe we can have some transatlantic exchanging going on.
that is fantastic. No,
I
absolutely.
I am very excited about this, and I see Crystal is showing some key components of your website, some keywords like
Yes,
value and competence and knowledge and all of those things. That's what all of this collaboration will do. It will bring forward those things to your young population, the learning. the
Yeah.
skill, developing their experience, so they can become competent entrepreneurs and feel very confident in negotiating deals with government entities,
Yes.
when it gets to that point.
Yeah.
Now, those
That's
are some of the kind of things that we're doing here with entrepreneurs already. So we'd like to lend some of that expertise to your population.
yes, and that is what we need. And I mean, we will grab that with both hands.
Yes, yes. So let's talk a little bit on a little global level here. I know this is probably not where
Yeah.
you guys are yet, but it's good to aspire to that. So
Yes,
You're in Cape Town, correct?
that's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the population of Cape Town right now? Do you have an
Wow.
idea? Just an estimate. You don't have to.
We've
A million, a million, or
no
few
man. We
hundred
more.
thousand?
No, they're more
Wow.
than that.
Gee. The population of the Western Cape is
Yeah.
around uh, 7 million.
7 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good place to start. So knowing it's about 7 million, then we can start figuring out how we can get these entrepreneurs to one, get themselves ready. We call it business
Yeah.
ready or contract ready or nonprofit ready or funding ready, right? So we can get
Yeah.
them to that point and then start getting them reaching out to the different contract providers, because each city, each county, and each state that you
Yes.
have, they have needs. They have needs for purchasing, procuring items, procuring products, or procuring services. So that's how
Yes.
we want to build those young entrepreneurs to get to that point where they understand what the cities, what the counties, what the towns and states need. And then
Yes.
once they understand what those needs are, then they can provide that to those states and
That's good.
towns.
Yes, I'm very much in agreement with you. The political landscape at the moment has lent itself to the migration of the population from the rural areas to the
Yes,
urban centers.
right.
So we have a lot of our population has phew, in the Western Cape. I think it has doubled um, since
Wow.
Sure. Since 10 years, in 10 years.
Wow.
And that is because the Western Cape is one of the better run provinces, so to speak. We are
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we the stats is of the population is so low is
Mm-hmm.
because it hasn't been taken, the statistics
Yeah.
hasn't been, the migration hasn't been taken into account.
Right.
So we find ourselves with an informal um, 6 to 7 million population, but in
Right.
real terms, statistics speak about 5 million.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's approximately 5 million
Yeah,
with a growth of 1.93%. So
that's
it's
correct.
growing. It's growing. So if we can take the minds of these young entrepreneurs, prepare those minds, build those minds, and allow them to start thinking in that global arena in terms of procurement, then they're going to be able to become self-sufficient instead of working for someone, be a slave or an employee to
Yeah,
someone. They can be their own entrepreneurs, build their own wealth, build their
that's
families and their communities. You see what I mean?
that's
Right.
correct.
And with a skill, as you were saying, for other countries take your talent outside of your country and
Yeah,
leave the ones just fending without skill sets and trying to survive, which is, it happens. And in America, we too have that problem. I mean,
hmm,
a lot of our technical people are coming from other countries because we
yes,
don't focus on exposing them to technology so that they also, especially with black people or people of color, we represent about 2 to 3% of the tech world and
yeah,
Yeah,
those tech salaries.
hmm,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
So
yes, and
go
our,
ahead.
our, our young adults are going in that direction. The digital, the
yes,
coding. the
Yes.
all the robotics.
Mhm.
Yet we still need people to build.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We still need
Yes.
people to make things. So who's
Yeah.
going to make it?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. You can't have a company if you make widgets. Somebody got to make the widgets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody has to repair the cars. Somebody has to repair the HVAC. Someone
Yeah.
has to build the furniture.
Yeah. Yeah. They got
Yes,
to build
yes.
that infrastructure.
Yeah, so you need that. You just can't eliminate that because we're still living, right? So we still need people to be inventing and developing and
Yes.
creating, and you have to develop.
Planting.
Right, exactly,
I
exactly.
I believe the topic today was so fitting for what we're talking about today. Teach a person to fish and you'll feed them for a lifetime. So I love that. And it's very fitting for what we're discussing today. And I can't wait for our next meeting. I'm sure that we're probably going to be meeting in January sometime. So let's do that. Let's do that. And I really appreciate having you and your brother on the show today.
No, it's been my absolute pleasure, and thank you for this opportunity,
Yes.
Crystal and Gilbert, for availing this platform where we can
Yes.
showcase LENTEC Training Academy. You know,
Yes. For
and
sure.
give our bit of input into how we're trying to grow entrepreneurs.
Yes. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to share with the audience out there right now? Anything you want to share with them and let them know about your organization, how they can contact you, what they need to
Yeah.
do, or even give a shout out to your own entrepreneurs?
Yes. No. From our side, we just like to have this opportunity to showcase our business, our academy, tell you what we do, and in some small way contributing to the growth in our economy. I mean, they can contact us via our website, which is Lentec uh, at.
I actually put it in the chat earlier,
Oh, okay.
but
Yes, I saw that.
yeah, I will do it again. Um, they are in South Africa, everyone. So it's
Yeah.
Lintech and the whoops, let me just see if I
So
can
so
show
what
it.
is it? Lentec at what?
It's lintech.org.za.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And
That's the
that's it.
website.
You will find our website there, and we can interact that
Yes.
way as well.
And how
Um,
about the email? What's the email address?
it's also Craig at lentec.org.za or Trevor at lentec.org.za.
Yeah. So let me put this, I'll do this again. So everybody can get it
You
and
know,
make
you know, Craig, it's really refreshing to hear you and your brother uh, 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 pronounce the letter Z as Z because that's how we know it in Jamaica. We say Z when you come here to America. They say Z. You know, I'm going what? What is Z?
Z.
But that's what we say. We're used to Z, you know, or
Yeah.
zebra instead of zebra. We say zebra. You know,
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. I love it.
are you feeling some Kenyan shit with the language?
I'm feeling some kinship right now. I'm feeling loved.
Well, Gilbert, that is what I felt when I came to South Africa. I felt like I was connecting with my people, and that is
Yes,
so important.
right.
Here in America, we have it's a different feeling here for us because we've been kept away from the diaspora, and so we're
Yeah.
always hungry for that. But
Yes,
I still my ancestry is from Nigeria, but I still felt a kinship that I was on the motherland.
yeah.
Yes.
I love it, man. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
And
So
the technology is so advanced now that we can connect. You know,
Yes, yes.
the sea is not an obstacle anymore. We can
Right.
cross that divide easily now virtually. So I love what is happening here, and if we can continue with this conversation, not only as I said for ourselves as Lentec, but as the young entrepreneurs that want to engage,
Yeah.
with you guys on that side of the Atlantic.
I certainly see
yes.
this relationship building, getting stronger. Your population pool, I don't know how many entrepreneurs you have in your program right now, how many participants, but I guarantee you within the next 6 months, you're going to see a big growth in your number of participants in your program based on
Fantastic.
the partnership that we're creating here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Craig,
Awesome.
so this show is we're going to broadcast. I'm gonna broadcast it again in our regular time slot at 3 o'clock this afternoon, middle of the night for you. But I am also going to send you it's been broadcasting live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and as well as YouTube. So I will send you over the YouTube link, and then you can broadcast it. You can push it out on your social media platforms as well.
Yes, no, that will be absolutely fantastic. Thank
And
you.
you can run this as many times as you want. This is your marketing. This is your marketing right now.
And I believe it may be already trending on yours, or at least the link was there because I tagged you on your LinkedIn when I marketed on the show.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. So, but you can upload it to yours.
Please share this show with your population, with the people in your community. We got 5 million. So let's see how many of those can buy into the program, and they will start supporting you even more. So that's going to be great. That's going to be great. So thank you so much, Craig. And on behalf of our listeners here on this side of the Western continental, we want to say thank you and both Trevor for participating in this show, The Business Zone, today. Our official international ambassador, my co-host, did a great job in making this connection when she went to South Africa. That's why we send her out to all these different countries all the time, because we know she's phenomenal when it comes to establishing that kind of network. We just sent her to Egypt. Of course, we didn't pay her, or we didn't pay her way, but we sent her. So we're thinking of sending her to England next.
No, my next journey is Ghana. I'm going to Ghana.
Oh, Ghana. Oh, okay.
I'm actually be in Egypt first, and then I'll go to Ghana. But that'll be my next journey. But it's been awesome, Craig, and it was just a blessing to meet you guys. Thank you, Melanie, for having a 50th birthday party in South Africa, so I could get to meet your entire family.
Thank you, Melanie.
Are awesome. And I just love your mom. I love all of you guys now, your family. And so it was great. And Gilbert, they have the most beautiful children on the planet, other than my own baby. But they have the most beautiful children in his family.
Love it, man.
All of their kids and their grandkids are absolutely gorgeous.
I love it.
And they're so sweet. They came in and they gave us all a hug and a kiss when they greeted us when they came in, and they greeted us when they left out. We were blown away.
That's what family is all about. Now, according to Trevor Noah, you guys probably speak about 8 different languages, right?
11 languages.
11, right? Man, I would love that. I'm trying to brush up on my 3rd language here, Spanish. So I love to speak some of the languages that you guys speak.
Yeah, that's I think the difference of being born in a country outside of America.
Yeah,
we learn one language and to be proficient in that one language. And some of us are not proficient in that language. But it's awesome. Yvonne, thank you, because she was the one that's like, can you help my son? when she came here. So hopefully I've done that, and I will continue to do that. And
I'm sure you've done, co-host. You've done. And for those of you who are just tuning into this program right now, this is the early edition of the Business Zone. And with, of course, my co-host Crystal and myself, Coach Gilbert Buchanan. Our very special guest today was Mr. Craig. How do you say it? Poyo? Craig Poyo and his brother Trevor Poyo from LENTEC Training Academy in South Africa. They have been doing some great work with young entrepreneurs there, and we've just established a relationship a collaboration relationship where we will be streaming some of our training to their academy, to some of their participants in the coming years. So we're very excited about this partnership. So want to thank him, folks. We want to thank him, and you can go to YouTube and look at this. This is streaming live right now. So you can go to YouTube, you can copy the link, put it in your special folder. You can watch it over and over again. And their contact information is in the chat, folks. You can get that and reach out to them as well. So, co-host?
With that, I think we're going to shut down. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Please be safe. The pandemic is not over. In fact, it's between the COVID, the RSV, and the flu epidemic, we are in a bit of a crisis. So please take care of yourself, mask up, continue to sanitize and wash your hands, and limit your goings around during the holiday season. So that's how we kind of expand this. So we want
and you just remember safe. The monkeypox is waiting in the wings, guys.
So next week's show, we're back to our balancing life, love, business, and creating relationships. So next week we have a single entrepreneur who's been seeking love, and she's hilarious. So tune in next week to Miss Cassie Betts. She's going to talk about her challenges. And then we have a couple, Wendy and her husband, and they're going to talk about how you work together and make it work, and it also create that work-life balance, love, and relationships within the same household. As entrepreneurs, Gilbert and I felt that this was an interesting topic because it's pretty darn difficult
as an entrepreneur,
to make that work. Yeah. So we're exploring that and how the people that have been able to do that. So maybe we can take some tools and some lessons and some strategies from them. So make sure you tune in next Friday, 3:00. We're back to our regular time, but you can also, I'm rerunning this show again this afternoon. So for those of you that weren't up this morning or at 10:00, you can go back to our regular time at 3:00, and we'll see, and you guys will see us there. So thank you, Craig. You were awesome. I don't know how you wasn't load sharing like your brother, but that's okay. We're glad.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Craig.
Amazing show. And Gilbert, you and I are really good. That's what Mel says. So
thank you, Mel. Appreciate the love. Thank you. So,
thank
folks,
you guys.
So, folks, awesome. Thank you,
Craig.
So, folks, you can watch the show again at 3:00, 3 p.m. today. The Business Zone live with Crystal and Gilbert, and our very, very special guest, Mr. Craig Poyo, along with his brother Trevor Poyo from LENTEC Training Academy. And we've got some great information for you. So tell your friends, folks, and tune in. And for right now, we're going to be out. So we'll see you again at 3:00 today.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.